Hi everyone, my name's Dave, I'm from Store DJ, and in front of me is the Roland SE02, a brand new collaboration with Roland and Studio Electronics. So this is Roland's first entry in the Designer Series of boutique products. Designer Series is essentially the new collaborations with other manufacturers, and it yields amazing results just as this. Studio Electronics, they have this amazing background of making classic Moog instruments, and the sound quality that comes from those guys alone is amazing. It's exciting to see them and Roland combine to create something new. Looking at this, you might think, oh, there's another entry in the small synth market, and yeah, you got your Volkers, you have your other boutiques, you have some other companies do their thing, but how many have you seen that are genuinely analog in this kind of format where it's fully tweakable? I can't wait to talk about this because this is something wasn't really expected from Roland. First of all, Roland and Studio Electronics. It's like, wow, what a collaboration! And we have this device which you look at it at first and you go, hang on, this looks a bit different to the other boutiques I've seen. And essentially, it's analog. It's real deal. It looks a little bit familiar, but there's something a bit different to it as well. We're seeing something quite fresh. And after playing around with it for a while and listening to what it can produce, yeah, it's quite exciting. It's new and old, and it's all the good stuff and all the new stuff as well. So I think we should really dive in and check out what this baby's capable of. Okay, so lifting this up, this isn't a flimsy piece of plastic. This is solid, real solid stuff. Like touching them, a bit of solid resistance to the pots. It just feels like a real instrument, which is what you want, you know. Sometimes when people see this small format, they go, oh, it's just a toy, it's just a basic tool. But this is an instrument. It feels good, feels really nice, and nice clear labeling as well, and it's everything you need to get started, really. So you may have remembered the other boutiques had the optional K25 keyboard module, and yes, you can still use it with this if you want to, but you can also use the DK01 module here, which allows it to live like a desktop module, and it allows you to hook it up to a MIDI controller. This is just a standard one, and you can use pitch bend and mod wheel and really add expression to this synth. Of course, you can stick to the old K25, but Roland gives you the options to go here or there if you need to. At the back here, we have your normal audio outs and ins, external input for any processing, which is great. You have your triggers in and out. You have CV gate, CV filter inputs. You have MIDI in and out, of course. And as you can see here, there's a USB port which allows you to hook it up to computer, but we don't have a USB hooked up via USB bus power like the other boutiques. It uses proper power, and that's proof that this is a real analog instrument. And they all come in 3.5mm connectors. It's nice and compact, which is the point of this instrument. So looking here, we have the oscillator section, 1, 2, 3, which kind of reminds us of that Moog kind of heritage. We have the range, tune, and waveform with the different shapes here. You can see you got sawtooth, triangle, and square with various pulse widths as well. You have the different tuning, and that's how you get your fifths and sevenths. And essentially, you can stack up and make chord sounds with this straight off the bat. Now from the oscillators, we head towards the mixer. And from here you can start blending the oscillators together, but you also have this feedback circuit. And from here you essentially can create unique timbres and colorations. Feedback is your key to colorful overtones. Really expands your palette of sounds. And of course you have noise as well. Simple. Okay, so looking over here we have the filter section, and this is where Studio Electronics really comes to play here. What this knob is a 24 dB ladder filter. What does that mean? Essentially, it just Gives you really nice smooth tone control, which is great. Combine that with the emphasis here, and we have very colorful resonance, a very musical way of balancing tone and expression, which is really cool. In fact, if you want to get that classic G-funk style lead sound, all you need to do is crank this up, turn the key track up 1 and 2, and play around with the cutoff, and bam, instant vibes. Now we have this LFO section, which is where it really starts to veer away from the traditional Moog setup. It has more options, more expressions. So you have your typical rates, you have 9 wave shapes, and you have different sync options as well. So the LFO syncs to the sequencer, and the behavior is set here. You can have either nothing, LFO only, delay only, or both. Now the LFO depth is controlled via the mod wheel, and you can adjust the depth using this control over here. You also have a LFO trigger mode here, and you can have it free running, so it runs in the background, or you have when you press the key and then it will start triggering, or the one times, which is very unique, where it triggers for 1 cycle and it just stops afterwards. So now we have the envelope section as well, and it also follows the minimal style of tradition, where you have attack, decay, and sustain. You also have the option to switch the decay to release with this switch here, and you can actually specify the envelope to be controlled by LFO or gate as well. Now, for all the analog tones and goodness that this SE02 can do, this section, the X mod, really takes it to new territories. Why? Because X mod means cross modulation, and cross modulation is kind of like frequency modulation, FM synths. And here, with these 3 knobs, you have total control over the way the modulations react with each other, and it creates a whole new range of harmonics to work with. So on the right of the synth now is the delay. Now not all synths have a good delay circuit you can use. This one does. This one has 3 parameters control of delay effect, but from these 3 alone you can create a whole bunch of wacky time, pitching, tape delay style kind of sounds, as well as your more spacey tones. It's an excellent addition. So towards the left of the synth here, we have the control section, and from here you have the obvious glide, which creates your portamento style effect, and you can change the behavior here from exponential to linear. Down here though is your blending of LFO and cross mod. From there you can create these great beating, intertwining style modulation effects. Cross mod and LFO behavior can be controlled here by a modulation wheel. Not necessarily this one, but whatever you have access to. Essentially, more expression from the SE02, which is super powerful. Now, one of the things that really rounds out this synth is the step sequencer. From here, you can enter things like note length, the note glide, parameter control. Essentially, you can create 303 style patterns and also changing parameters per step, essentially, which gives you a whole bunch of real organic but also live sounding sequences as well. That sequencer itself is super powerful. On top of that, you have this performance section as well, which you can change the direction of the way the sequence moves from back to front, reverse, back and forward, random, which really adds to that variation I was talking about. So when you add together the accenting, the glides, the parameter locking, which is kind of like electron style devices as well, it really adds to the value of the synth, and not just great for leads and basses, but great little quirky riffs and rhythms as well. So I really hope you can see how powerful this little guy is. There's just so much features packed into the small format. So hopefully get to catch you in the store sometime soon, and until next time, see you later.